You know what? There is a dark side of being a project manager. Yes, it's not shiny and bright all the time. Things do become gloomy. After 25 years in the business of project management and with exposure to many facets of doing projects, I can easily recall few scenarios that I hated as a project manager. Hello, my name is Daud and I am a project management coach and trainer. Today, I will share with you the things I hated the most as a project manager. If you are thinking of becoming a project manager, you should know the pros and cons of being a project manager. I don't want you to blame me later when you get challenged, saying that, Daud, you shared with us such nice stories about project management. Now, if you are a project manager, you may find solace that you are not alone dealing with stressful situations. And if you have something else on your list, please share it with us and comment below. Now, I want you to know that this is not a list I have compiled by browsing the internet or reading books. These are from my own project management experience. Interestingly, these are not the moments of dealing with complex technical issues or high degree of uncertainty. Those were actually fun to handle. Okay, so here are the ones that I hate the most. First thing I hate is when the senior management is unsupportive and inflexible. They do not want to listen to the project manager's point of view, instead, forcing their opinion on the project manager and the project. I specifically remember one time when my manager told my client that my project will complete a deliverable by a certain date. She committed without consulting or asking me. What she agreed to with the client was unrealistic and completely out of the question. With one statement, she created a mess that turned into a headache for me. She was unwilling to correct herself. Instead, she asked me to take the blame for wrong estimation. What an ethical dilemma it was. Another instance was where the management forced me to finish an 8-month project in 4 months because that was the only way we could win the bid and get the contract. They were unwilling to even look at all the red flags that were coming up with such an aggressive schedule. I felt I aged more in those 4 months than I did in 4 years. Unrealistic expectations set by unresponsive management. Now, the second is kind of related to the first one. When I was made accountable for the project outcome but not given the authority to make it happen. It felt like someone tied my hands and asked me to write and then objected, why am I not writing? On one project, the program manager asked me to ensure certain deliverables finish on time because there might be financial penalties. He even threatened me that missed deadline will be a performance issue. I needed a specific resource who was a subject matter expert. Otherwise, I could not hit the deadline. I repeatedly asked for the resource. Answer was, let me look into it. I had no authority to engage internal resources unless those are assigned to me. No authority to hire a resource or contract a temporary resource. And absolutely no way I could spend a dime on paying overtime to my project resources so that the project can meet the deadline. My hands were completely cut off, but I was made accountable. The third thing I hate is when the client or senior management starts to micromanage the project. I was doing a system integration project for a client where my counterpart, the client-side project manager, who was the sponsor's representative, asked to have a daily progress review meeting. He was adamant about it because he thought he can provide better support. It turned out to be a big nuisance because he needed an update on the day's work and started to interject in the project work at micro level. My team hated it. I was stressed. We were spending close to a quarter of our time just providing him information that he really did not need. And I noticed several times that he had no idea what the team is talking about, but he had to have his say anyway. And the fourth and biggest one that I hate is when stakeholders play dirty politics. Sometimes stakeholders have hidden motives. In few cases, those can be ulterior motives that make them work on sabotaging the project rather than supporting it. A subject matter expert would not help the team in identifying the requirements and testing the adequacy of the features being built, only because he felt his authority in the organization will diminish. He withheld information, created arguments on trivial points that did not matter much, and he used it as a delay tactic. On top of that, he kept his manager in loop, so there was no support we could get from him. Another one where the two members of the steering committee had some rivalry going on, and they made the steering committee meetings a battleground to settle their score rather than helping out the project. So these were the four things I hated the most as project manager. How about you? What is it that you hate in your role, whether project manager or something else? I want to hear your story. Thanks for watching.